Hello, everyone. I'm going to give people a few minutes to join, and then I will go ahead and get started. All right, I should have some time at the end for questions. But my name is Dr. Chelsea Shore Miller, and I serve as the program manager for the Region 10 Opioid Abatement Council, also referred to as Gateway to the Rockies or GROC. A little bit about me, because that will be important to contextualizing why we have set the dollar amount that we have for the length of time that we have on this presentation. I do have a PhD in higher education leadership and policy studies. I also have a graduate certificate in program evaluation and a second graduate certificate in measurement and statistics. I am doing and will continue to do a bulk of the heavy lifting for this evaluation project. I am a person in long-term natural recovery from substance misuse, and I am a product of the opioid epidemic. This is my service dog, Kota. He's often with me. Great support. So really quick, just what is evaluation? Most of you in this room should already know this if you're applying for this RFA, but program evaluation is a systematic process that assesses the effectiveness and efficiency of a program, policy, or project. It involves collecting and analyzing data to answer questions and make recommendations. The purpose is to provide feedback to program managers such as myself or the voting council of the GROC, inform policymakers and planners, identify areas for improvement, and ensure programs are functioning as intended. There is a landing page for this RFA. It is linked in this PowerPoint. I will drop a link to the PowerPoint in the YouTube video recording of this, so that you can go back and reference that. But a couple ways that you can access it. If you go from the fundings opportunity tab, I'll start from the top, from just the general Gateway to the Rockies website. If you click on funding opportunities, right here in the middle, RFA program evaluation, click on learn more. So again, GROC is considered Region 10. It represents Clear Creek, Gilpin, and Jefferson counties. Jefferson County does serve as the fiscal agent. We received funding from the opioid settlement to address gaps and opportunities in prevention, treatment, recovery services for people who use opioids or other substances, or those with opioid use disorder, as well as other co-occurring substance use disorders, co-contributing variables, or mental health issues in the region. This funding opportunity is open from today, June 3rd, 2025, to July 31st, 2025. The awardee will work in collaboration with the GROC program manager, me, to evaluate the regional council. The council intends to emerge as a leader of the 19 Colorado regional opioid abatement councils in transparency and in evaluation. The evaluation in this RFA will support the council's development of a public-facing data dashboard for their website with relevant data on the region and the impact of the council's work. The awardee should plan to collaborate with the program manager on an annual white paper. I come from a background of academia. It's not enough to do the work. We actually need to disseminate the work. So that's where that's coming from. We do have we have preliminary evaluation questions. When I was drafting this RFA, I wanted to be descriptive and informative without being restrictive. So please consider these as a guide. Feel free to reword them, recast them in your actual proposal. We trust your experience. We are curious about your experience and your approach. So there is two parts to the evaluation: outcome and process. For outcomes, we really are looking at what GROC is funding, what the money is going towards, what the outcomes and goals of each grantee are, the degree to which they are achieving those outcomes or goals, and to what degree is GROC mitigating the opioid crisis in Region 10. This is really interesting because we are the only region that has a major metro, Jefferson, as well as rural, Clear Creek and Gilpin, combined into one. So data suppression is an issue. Data collection in general is an issue for Gilpin and Clear Creek. So any way that you can address that in your evaluation would be beneficial. In terms of the process portion of the evaluation project, how well is the council implementing its programs, managing funds, engaging stakeholders? What is the effectiveness of the council's operations, decision-making processes, and adherence to program goals? This section right here is probably where you're going to spend the most of your time. This includes all of the application materials. It will link you to a Google Drive, which is also going to be linked right here in that PowerPoint presentation. But if you just click on each section, I'm not going to read these. You're capable of reading. But it just goes a little bit more in depth about what the funding announcement is for, application factors, question and inquiries. There is a Q&A form that I check probably twice a day. And then I will publicly post the answers in addition to emailing you directly what the public facing answer was. Webinars and office hours, that's listed on the website. So I've coordinated 2 office hours. These are drop-in, very informal, but it's a chance for you to ask questions, to network with other people. There'll be one on June 19th and then again on July 16th. Applications are due at 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 31st. As a heads up, we did experience several technical difficulties with our application platform in our general funding a couple months ago. So I highly encourage you to not wait until July 31st. Please start a little bit earlier. My traditional working hours are like 9 to 6, 10 to 6. So if you are working on your application in that time span, and you do experience technical difficulties, I can most likely assist you rather quickly. If you're working at 10 o'clock at night, that is your prerogative. I'm not going to get to it probably until the next day. I don't typically work on weekends, probably closer to this deadline. I will be checking email to support you in that submission process as needed. And then in terms of eligibility, basically anybody is eligible. We don't have any restrictions on this at this time. I did create a little checklist for you to go through everything that needs to be included. In terms of decision and notification, that is listed on the schedule of activities. We are looking at an August or September decision by the council. Just depends on how many applications we get submitted, what that pre-screening process kind of goes through, how that gets to the scoring committee, any type of extended discussion the scoring committee wants to have before making a recommendation to the full council, or if the full council decides that only the scoring committee has the delegation to make a decision on an awardee. This will go over how to apply. Applications must be received electronically no later than 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 31st. Faxed, emailed, or mailed applications will not be accepted. You must go through the Civic Plus portal. I will show you that in this webinar today. In terms of the budget and the funding period, this GROC expects to receive funds through 2038. This specific award will run, I'm going to switch into award information. Will run for 2 years. So again, it might be October 2025 to October 2027. I'm hoping for September 2025 to September 2027. It just depends, like I said, on that review and contracting and meeting that agreement, but that does give you a general timeline of 2 years. We have allocated $120,000 this year for that 2-year period. So again, it's $120,000 over 2 years. I'll talk about more how you can split that up. This right here is probably where you're going to spend the most time, because if you scroll to the bottom, this is where your official application has to get submitted into Civic Plus. This is kind of glitchy. I do not recommend working in here. I do recommend working in a Word document, copying and pasting all of your information over. If there is an asterisk, that means it's a required information. I'm not sure why this keeps populating my email address. Please make it your point of contact email address. You will need a W-9. Disclaimers of transparency. We follow Cora. You understand that Colorado Public Records law, that this application might be subjected to that. You would just click I understand. All of our review committee is required to sign a non-disclosure agreement or an NDA, so that is still part of the process. Legal disclosure statement. Has your organization ever been subject to any criminal charges, civil litigation, administrative or regulatory investigations, whether pending, resolved, or otherwise, related to your professional conduct or personal behavior? Please note, disclosure of past or pending allegations does not automatically disqualify you from consideration. All information provided will be assessed in contact with consideration given to relevance, severity, and stage of proceedings. However, failure to disclose any relevant information or the intentional omission or misrepresentation of such matters may result in disqualification from the application process, or, if discovered later, revocation of any offer or position granted. You would say yes or no. If yes, please upload a PDF document that provides a brief explanation, including the nature of the allegation, relevant dates, jurisdiction or just jurisdictions involved, and the current status or final outcome of the matter. Again, this has to be a PDF only, and the max file size is 20 megabytes. For the application materials, you're going to do a series of PDF uploads. And so in one document with the corresponding section headers below, use 12-point font size, font style Arial or Times New Roman, 1.5-point spacing between lines, and 1-inch margins all around. This is important because we do print these out for the review committee, and so they have to be able to read them consistently. I'll switch over to this draft document so that you can see how I'm working in it. So right here, it says heading 1, organization company background, provide a brief. This is loose, 1 page, maybe 500 to 750 words, overview of the organization or company supporting this application, including knowledge of the National Opioid Abatement Settlement and experience working with other regional opioid abatement councils or ROAC. Heading number 2 is going to be your approach to evaluation. Again, these are intended to be informative and descriptive, not prescriptive. So feel free to recast the wording, add additional questions, but this will give you a guide of what we're looking for. And describe how the overall success of the GROC will be evaluated. Include a description of how 2 evaluations will be planned, 1 for outcomes and 1 for processes. Both descriptions should include methods of data collection, reporting and using findings, and metrics. You should use tables or other visual aids as necessary. While the GROC has posed baseline evaluation questions, applicants are encouraged to build on those to construct a comprehensive evaluation plan. The focus of the outcome evaluation should be on the success of GROC grantees in achieving milestones outlined in their original RFP or RFA, steps taken by grantees to achieve the stated milestones, success of various strategies employed, and time to implementation. In other words, the outcome evaluation should assess the effectiveness of GROC funded programs in achieving intended impact, such as reducing opioid misuse, increasing access to treatment, and improving public health. The focus of the process evaluation should be on understanding the effectiveness of GROC's council operations, decision-making processes, and adherence to program goals. While there is no page limit for this, applicants are asked to be as concise as possible. Please don't fluff, please be explicit, direct. I want to say in as few words as possible. Your timeline is going to be heading number 3. Provide a detailed timeline for program evaluation, including key milestones, expected outcomes. Timeline should include when the work would start, when it would end, and any other important dates or seasons that matter. Think about when the council would need a report, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, or whether the State Opioid Council has funding requests, expense reports due, or the council's hosting another request for applications. All of those things might play a role in what information we need and when we need it. Heading number 4 is going to be your budget. Again, we budgeted $120,000 for 2 years of evaluation activities between 2025 and 2027. This section right here, heading 4.1, is dollar amounts. It's intended to be a quick, visually appealing snapshot of the cost of the project. So do a total amount, do a year 1 cost, a year 2 cost, and then if you are able, project pricing for future renewal options. And then in this section, the final section of this first upload, you're going to include a brief narrative of each budget item. You will upload an Excel line item budget in the next section. This narrative provides you an opportunity to justify or rationalize the cost associated with each line item. Keeping in mind, I do have extensive experience in multi-pronged complex program evaluation. So I am critical of how much you're spending and where you're spending. So I need that explanation right here, especially if it's outside the bounds of what I would think it would be. Your next upload is going to be a detailed budget. I did not create a budget template because most program evaluators have your own process, you have your own budget, you don't need that type of guidance. Again, I did not want to be prescriptive here. So you will provide a detailed line item budget for the proposed work. You might choose to use 3 Excel tabs, a total budget, a year 1, a year 2. You might just use 1 tab with 3 different columns and your line items. That freedom is entirely up to you. I do prefer an Excel, but if you need to export it and do a PDF, that's fine too. Just make sure that, again, the formatting is visually appealing because it might get printed out for the review committee. Again, the max file size here is 20 megabytes. Upload number 3 is going to be your personnel qualifications. This is a template that I am requesting you to use. Yes, it is the NIH BioSketch format. It has our header on it. I do not want to see the NIH BioSketch. I want to see the BioSketch with the GROC logo on it. Do not exceed 2 pages. Please use Arial point 10 or 11 only. And this is going to be your key people. So think like the top 2 to 3 people who will be engaging with me the most. I want to see their history and their contributions to the project, their experience. I do have a sample of this that I will link in the YouTube recording, and then I will link it again in the Google Drive so you can see how I've done it. Any additional support staff who have minor roles, you're going to want to do an additional attachment upload of list names, qualifications, staff. So maybe you have one person who they just run statistics for you. They don't need a BioSketch. they would be listed here as an additional attachment. And then another additional, and then, sorry. You do have to combine them into one document. So you could just like copy paste this, make it multiple pages. But if you have two people, I should see two bio sketches in a single upload. And then, like I said, you have two options for additional attachments. These are completely optional. They're not required. Is that list of names and qualifications for support staff. And then if you have any work samples or an evaluation portfolio that you can upload and share, that would be awesome. We love to see that. It gives me a better idea of what your creative capacity is, what those visuals are going to look like, where we work well together, where we might need to adjust or compromise, and again, where our skills are going to complement each other in this project. Again, max file size is 20 megabytes on everything. And then you would do the CAPTCHA and you would click submit, and that is it on that. So again, submission instructions. This website is going to be your Bible. I update it almost regularly. If some of you looked at it yesterday, I've already made some changes and some corrections. There is that Q&A form here. Please make sure you use that. I will link the public-facing document right here that you can check for answers. Here is the schedule of activities. This is as of now. If it changes, it will be notated on here. So we have the funding announcement was first emailed out yesterday. We have the pre-application webinar happening right now. The first office hours, again, drop in, very informal, will be recorded, will be posted to the GROC YouTube channel. You can register for that right here. Once the recording is available, the registration link will turn into a recording link. Office hours number 2 will be at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, June 16th. And then applications are due on Thursday, the 31st. The review period is in August. And again, looking at a September 5th announcement, this might change. You can schedule a review with me. Let me go back to this description. So I do have, I think I mentioned it up here. Existing evaluation documents. So I did conduct a baseline evaluation of GROC in my first quarter, which was October 24 to December 24. And that led to the curation of the first Colorado ROAC Standard Operating Procedures Manual. So that goes into that process evaluation. That wasn't something that we had. Now we have it. It's an organic document. We get updates in it almost monthly. Additionally, the grantees from the first round of funding in 2024, they provided quarterly reports from their awarded projects. So all of these documents are available upon request to support your application narrative for approaching the evaluation project. If you wish to review these documents, you should contact me. Oh, I just updated my name. That way I can get them to you. I can give you some context around them. If you also look on our website under the 2024 grantees, I did a little summary report of their first quarter, and then I realized how much evaluation capacity building they needed. So I stopped doing that. But this will give you a little bit of an example of what an evaluation might look like working with me, the things that I'm interested in, how I structure them. And when I say I'm interested in, I mean on behalf of the council. How there is, like, for every positive, you also have an area of opportunity that you identify, what we're doing about that. So this would be, I have individual reports from these people, you have this report, and then you also have my baseline report. If you would like to get more context, if you would like to include them, in your evaluation application. And I think that is it. I've done a lot of speaking at you folks. So let me see if I can close some things down and take some questions.
Hi, I'll just chime in. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's your name? Where are you from?
Leanne. My name is Leanne. We met a couple months ago. I'm with Stage Analytics. Yeah, and I think
Yes,
you met one of our co-founders here recently too. Um,
yes.
I was just going to add, we don't have any questions at the moment, but once we dig into everything, we'll definitely take advantage of your office hours or the next time that you have another get together for everyone will be joining as well. So thank you for your time. This was informative and very much appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. I did not finish my thought on the book a review with me. I do have 30-minute reviews open on Tuesdays and Thursdays. At this point, there's no limit to how many you can book with me. But if you want to ask, sometimes it's just better to get more like a free-flowing dialogue, especially if you want to review those existing evaluation materials. So you can jump on my calendar if you want to talk about the budget and it's like, oh, I kind of need these line items. Is this format working for you? Those kinds of things. So feel free to use that bookings page as well. Anyone else?
Hi, Dr. Shore. I just want to introduce myself. I'm with the Stedman Group, and I've only been with them for about 2 months, but I'm going to be taking the lead on the proposal. So just wanted to make sure that you saw my face and you know who I am.
Yes, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then just so you know, I got married last week. I guess that was like 2 weeks ago. So I have a name change. I'm actually Shore Miller. I'm just going through that fun process of changing my name. So Dr. Chelsea is fine. Thank you. All right, if there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and give you some time back. This recording will be posted by the end of the day today. And like I said, I will link all of those documents in the YouTube channel right there. Have a great day, everyone.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.